Welcome back, Devils fans. It is your host, Ace, here on Running with the Devils, and we got a couple little news tidbits, more rumors and things to discuss. So we'll start off right at the top with congratulations to Dougie Hamilton. We've lost another one. Another one falls off the board. Dougie Hamilton and his fiancée get engaged this summer, crushing the hearts of puck bunnies across the state of New Jersey. And there it is, another beautiful ring from a New Jersey Devils player. Hey, congratulations to Dougie and his fiancée pictured here. And we move on to everyone's favorite Swiss bromance. Timomeier and nicohischier on vacation in what looks like a beautiful tropical destination of some sort. I'm not exactly sure where they are, but these boys look like they are having a hell of a time on a summer vacation. Look forward to big seasons next season from both of these guys. And I think maybe we should just keep them on a line together. I was thinking about this the other day. And, with the talent we have, with a couple tweaks, there's no reason why our top six should not be amongst the best in the league. I mean, I would argue that it already is. But I would like to see Peanut Butter and Jelly reunited. So I'd like to see Jesper Bratt and Jack Hughes kind of stuck on a line for the long-term future. And I would like to see Timomeier and nicohischier together for the long term. And so that would leave, a couple winger spots to fill out there to see, how we have the best balanced attack. Hopefully Keefe is not one of these line shuffling type guys like we've seen in the past. And hopefully we find some lines that have some chemistry and kind of keep them together for most of the season if possible, or until at least we find something that clicks. But I do like Peanut Butter and Jelly. Bratt, Hughes, and a nice hulking winger, I think, could be a great top line. And then we have the Swiss connection with nicohischier and Timomeier. We should be seeing Timo time a lot next year, and we'll see. I think Dawson Mercer could possibly plug in on a wing on one of these top two lines, assuming he's still here, and maybe Holtz could as well. It's a very interesting thing to kind of figure out what is the best recipe for the Devils lines. I believe Keefe will do a great job in figuring it out, but I would like to see Nico and Timo together. I would like to see Jack and Jesper together and then kind of figure out the wings. So that's all, interesting stuff for next season. The league had a press conference the other day. They announced the salary cap is in fact going up to $88 million. So the GMs are just going to keep making it rain. These guys' contracts keep going up. There's no end in sight. Contracts are getting ridiculous, like across all of sports. And this gives the teams a little more flexibility to go out there and improve their rosters with a few extra $1 million or $4 million, whatever it was. That little jump will help a lot of teams, and hopefully the Devils are a cap team this year. I don't see any reason why they shouldn't be. Hopefully we go out in free agency, get aggressive, in conjunction with a couple, a trade or two, depending, but really get aggressive in free agency, hit that cap ceiling, and really ice the best roster possible for the 24-25 season. I do believe in this group, and with a couple of those free agent signings and a trade or two, we could be a lethal team. I really believe that. And then another thing coming out of the press conference was the announcement of the dates for the Four Nations Face-Off. If you're unaware, the Four Nations Face-Off is pretty much a precursor to the 2026 Olympic Games, where the NHL players will be returning to Italy to play Olympic hockey. Long overdue. Love to see the NHL guys in the Olympics. And then I believe the following year, they're going to go back to the World Cup. Best on best. Representing your country, nothing like it. I'm a huge fan of international hockey and these best-on-best tournaments. I attended some games in 2016 when the last World Cup that they had. Great experience to see all these star players, high-level skill. Great games to watch. And the Four Nations Face-Off is going to be next February, 12th to 20th. They're hosting some of the games in Boston and some in Montreal. Here we could see the schedule. So you have, they're starting it off in Canada at the Bell Center where the Canadians play. So you have Wednesday, February 12th, Canada versus Sweden. Then Thursday the 13th, USA versus Finland. Saturday the 15th, Finland versus Sweden. And then the same night, Saturday the 15th, USA versus Canada. And I mean, God, I think I have to be there at the Bell Center. Saturday, February 15th. Mark your calendars, guys. USA versus Canada in what should be the most star-studded lineups of a USA-Canada game at any level in years and years, honestly. There hasn't been truly the best on best USA Canada in forever. So that one's definitely circled on the calendar. Might have to make the trek to Montreal. And then they come to the States to play the rest of the games at TD Garden, home of the Boston Bruins. Monday, February 17th, Canada versus Finland. The 17th at night, Sweden versus USA. And then Thursday the 20th is the championship game. So basically every team in this tournament plays every other team. So there's 4 teams. So you play 3 games. You play each team once. They have a point system, and then the 2 highest point total teams advance to the championship game. And obviously, I'm going to go with my early prediction. I'm going to go USA, Canada. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised by anyone winning this tournament. These teams are going to be loaded from every country. All of them are going to be absolutely loaded, but I would imagine USA and Canada, they should be pretty nasty. But I will keep an eye on that. There could be tons of Devils involved in this. I mean, it's crazy. A lot of Devils should be in the mix in this tournament coming up in about 8 months. Keep an eye on that. I will definitely try to attend multiple games in probably both cities, and so you might see some coverage from the road. And then we finally get to the never-ending issue that doesn't seem to go away. This week, the Jacob Markstrom rumor mill, whatever you want to call it, has hit a new level. And so now it seems like the Leafs are involved. They want a shot at Markstrom, possibly the Senators. I've heard a couple other teams. And this is going to be an interesting one because I did say in a video a couple weeks ago that I did think Markstrom was the most likely scenario for the Devils to get in net. I just, I said straight up, I think Markstrom's going to be the guy we get. And I subsequently in another video said, I hope he's the guy we get. A lot of people are down on it and complaining about his age, this, that, and the other thing. I understand. However, for me personally, I truly am in win now mode with this group. I hope Fitzgerald is as well. And the reality is you do not need to get a long-term solution in net today. It would be a nice luxury to have. Don't get me wrong. I would love to go, in an ideal world where things didn't cost what they did in traded money. Say, oh, yeah, we got Soros, and now he's our goalie for the next, 6 to 8 years. We don't have to worry about it. That's a great luxury to have, but very few teams have it. I am willing to trade whatever it may be, if it makes sense, for Markstrom as a 2-year stopgap. He's making $6 million a year. I believe he keeps us very competitive for the 2 years remaining on his deal. And then you reassess from there. We have a ton of kids in the farm systems and the minor leagues. And if one of them aren't ready at the point where it's time for Markstrom to go, then you reassess and look in free agency or possibly a trade down the road. I'm not worried about securing the future of the goal today. It would be nice to do. I don't want to overpay for linusullmark, and I'm a little skittish on what he's going to bring. He's really never been that true workhorse starter, and I'm a little nervous to pay whatever they're going to ask for in trade and then pay him the money. I mean, it is what it is. Goalies, by and large, are a little bit of a gamble. You see that, time and time again, where some of these guys just seemingly fall off a cliff after a certain amount of time, and I don't want to be stuck in a position where now, after paying assets to get ullmark here, he kind of takes a nosedive, and now you're hamstrung with his contract, whatever it may be at the time. Probably it's going to be $6 million or so, and then still not have a solution in net. So I don't know. I wouldn't be mad if we got ullmark. I just don't think it's the most logical play because of what he's going to cost to get in trade and the contract. It just worries me. I do like Markstrom a lot. And now the chatter, is that all these other teams are involved. I personally think it is completely absurd to give the number 10 overall for Markstrom straight up. I think there's tons of Flames fans writing that. I believe they're delusionally optimistic if they think they're going to get a number 10 pick for Markstrom at 35 years old. I think that's completely outlandish. For me personally, I think, the 2025 first round pick should be sufficient. And that's something I'd be comfortable giving up. So in that scenario, say we give next year's first round pick for Markstrom, done deal. Now Markstrom's here for this season. We should 100% be a playoff team. And so that's a, late first round pick, a 20 something pick. That doesn't bother me for Markstrom. A top 10 does bother me. And it seems like the Flames are probably trying to drive the price up by talking to all these other teams. And I'm sure they're really hard set on trying to pry the number 10 pick away from Fitz. But for me, the number 10 for Markstrom straight up should not even be close to getting it done. And so now you maybe start talking about adding other picks if you're Calgary or a prospect or something to try to entice Fitzgerald to give you the number 10. I mean, with some retention on Markstrom, plus some other things packaged in there, I think maybe a deal could get done. But for Markstrom straight up, the number 10 is complete lunacy. And so maybe Calgary's still trying to get their feelers out. I feel like this is going to drag out for a while. The good part as Devils fans is that Markstrom was already mentally here last year. By all reports, he waived his no-move clause. He thought he was going to New Jersey. The deal got nixed last minute by Flames ownership when I think the issue was they didn't want to retain salary on him, and they kiboshed the whole thing, and now Markstrom's pissed. Now, new articles and quotes are coming out that Markstrom's basically said he's not playing for the Flames anymore, and not so many words. And so it seems like Markstrom is, as his career as a Flame is done for all intents and purposes. I don't see him playing for the Flames ever again, and now it's just a matter of what team he's going to go to. I'd imagine that he's going to have a large say in that. Because he has that no move, he could kind of dictate to some extent where he goes. And so he was already willing to come here. It seems like he wants to be here. He obviously wants to compete for a cup. He does not have one. At 35 years old, he's not going to have too many more chances. And what other team would present a more logical chance of winning to him than the New Jersey Devils? It makes too much sense, I think, on both sides. And so hopefully, Conroy comes to his senses and makes a reasonable deal, because if Fitzgerald, I don't see Fitzgerald giving the number 10. I just don't. People want to bash Fitz. I've bashed him plenty of times, but I don't think he's that reckless and dumb to give the 10th overall for a 35-year-old goaltender. For the people that are skittish on Markstrom because of his age, it does not bother me for 2 years. At 37 years old, listen, the great Martin Brodeur took the New Jersey Devils on his back. Well, not quite on his back, but he was a big part of it during the 2012 playoffs, and played in the finals for our beloved Devils against the Los Angeles Kings at a prime age of 40 years old. The great Martin Brodeur starting in the Cup finals at age 40. Beautiful thing to see. Obviously, it's unfair to compare anyone to Marty. Marty is the absolute GOAT, a specimen of a goaltender, and, his records, duration, everything speaks for itself. But I just use that as an example to say not every guy at 35 is a grandfather. I mean, some of the people talk about 35 in hockey as if it's like 100. I mean, there's plenty of guys that have been productive at 35. And I can point to no more recent example than Sergei Bobrovsky. He's 35 years old. He's actually a few months shy of turning 36. And look what he's doing for the Panthers in this playoff run. Now, I know everyone's going to say, oh, the Panthers are a better team. That's all true. But the point is, if you don't leave a goalie completely out on an island to face a shooting gallery on the nightly, and you give them some support on decent and good teams, old goalies can perform, and Bobrovsky's doing it now, and I don't think there's any reason why Markstrom could not do that for the New Jersey Devils, assuming Fitzy goes out this summer and does what we need to do, get a defenseman or two, get a forward or two. And I think that really, with a healthy lineup, I think Markstrom could thrive here. So I am not scared about the age. If he was 35 years old with 6 years left on his deal, that's a different story. He has 2 years left at $6 million, and I like him even more if Flames end up retaining some salary, because then that would allow us to spend some more money elsewhere in free agency. But I'm not scared by the 35 years whatsoever. Get us a couple defensemen, preferably of the nasty variety, and I think Markstrom could drag this team along. I think he will be a major upgrade from everything we had last season. I think he really wants to win. And like I said, it seems like he was already mentally here. And so he could kind of nix trades to other teams, to the Flames. And so the Flames are really, to me, in the extortion seat almost. They might try to play like they have the upper hand, but they don't. Markstrom now publicly said he wants out. Everyone knows how the deal got botched last year. And so if you're trying to play hardball and get one over on Fitz, it ain't going to happen, guy. It's not going to happen. The whole world knows Markstrom wants out. And do you want to send him to another Canadian market to have that blow up in your face? I mean, it's possible, but I could see Markstrom not wanting to go there. And so for me, this deal seems like it's going to happen at some point. It's just a matter of when and what the cost is going to be. Very interested to see if they somehow try to sweeten the pot to try to get the number 10. I'm not opposed to trading it in this deal, but it just absolutely cannot be for Markstrom straight up. And so, like I said, maybe some retention on Markstrom's salary. You maybe add in a prospect or another pick if you're the Flames, but straight up, it cannot happen. So maybe they're trying to figure out the nitty-gritty details of it, but I think it's going to happen, and I think it's going to happen before the draft, and we'll see how it all plays out. There's some other guys that could be an answer. We've talked about this at length, but just the past couple of days, the rumor mill and a lot of the quotes and things surrounding Markstrom have been getting louder, and it could all just be in an effort for the Flames to try to drive up the price. Who knows? But I ultimately think Markstrom will end up a New Jersey Devil. It's just a matter of how much and when. Hopefully soon, and hopefully Fitz doesn't get taken for a ride. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about any of this. The Four Nations, Dougie putting a rock on his fiance, crushing hearts everywhere. We got the bromance brothers, Timo and Nico, somewhere looking real nice out there with the boats in the water. Oh, lastly, before I wrap up here, if you haven't seen my previous video, I'm going to do a book club, the Martin Brodeur autobiography, Beyond the Crease. I'll be doing a dive into this starting in a few weeks. Every week I'll do like a chapter review video. So I'll talk about, what I thought was cool or interesting and kind of expand upon it from within the book. So starting it up in a few weeks. If you're interested in following along with us for the book club, buy a copy on Amazon or wherever. It's pretty cheap. Broder Beyond the Crease, good read. I read it 20 years ago. I'm going to fire it back up. And let me know in the comments, guys. What do you think about all this, the latest Markstrom news getting hot? What do you guys think about the Four Nations? We should have a lot of guys in there. Hughes brothers, Bratt, maybe Mercer, maybe Dougie, maybe some other guys we haven't gotten on our team yet because we're getting them in free agency. Throw it all out there in the comments. I got a lot of stuff planned for the next couple weeks. So I will talk to you all soon. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that jazz. Until next time, friends, let's go Devils.